Hello, everyone. Let's get everything ready to go. Get my iPad on. It's a little crooked. I think we can fix that. Let's see, what can we do? It's a little better. And all right. Perfect. All right, y'all. If you are stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. We are going to get into some super fun Purple Friday weekend crafting, and I'm really excited to share some of these fun ideas for today's project. So, like I had said, if you're stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. We'll get started in just a second. Thank you so much for your patience while I am getting everything all set up. And just had to get a drink of water. Forewarning, y'all, I am fighting a cold from being out of town last weekend, and if I sound just a little stuffy or if I sound like I have something in my mouth, my method is whenever I do a Facebook Live and I'm speaking, I like to, and not feeling well, I like to put a cough drop in my mouth just to be on the safe side. So we've got one of those going today, and so if my speech sounds a little different, that would be why. But thank you so much to everyone who's stopping by. I'm sure we've got 6 people right now. That's fantastic. What we're going to do is I have pulled 3 stamp sets. We're going to be combining all of them today. And the first stamp set that we're going to be mainly focusing on is I do have the new Defying Friends stamp set. This was part of our October release. However, I'm not coloring up either of the images with y'all today. I do have the images pre-colored up though. So what I wanted to do is just kind of show you guys the images that I have already. I will be certain to include the colors for the images in my blog post. Actually, if you go to my blog already, I have my Defying Friends release post that have the exact colors that I used in them. So I'm going to use both of these images for our card today. This is not what we're coloring up though. So what we are going to be coloring up is I have, for my second stamp set, I pulled out the Snow Family stamp set, and this was Audra's idea. She thought that if I gave this castle a little bit of an emerald green sort of feel, it may look like a certain city, and so we're going to use the castle image from the stamp set to sort of build a little bit of a scene. So I thought that would be super fun to get into. So I do have the image stamped out, and I figured we would just get right into some coloring. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do my coloring a little different than I normally do. So because this is such a large image, and because this image is just kind of featuring the same colors, I am just going to do a once through color. So I am going to put down my lightest layer of G00, and I'm just going to color the whole image with this. So I'm just going to kind of put it down. This is going to wet the paper, and then afterwards we're going to color through to blend everything out. So just going in, adding my color. And sometimes I like to take shortcuts with my coloring. I could totally do this where I could color it twice like I normally do, but just given the scale of this image, how much time that would take, and there's a lot of smaller details. Hello, Patsy, from your new to you home. That is fantastic. Congratulations on your move. So we're gonna go in and just kind of add in all of this G00, which is jade green. And this is going to allow us to really get a nice wet sort of paper that will be easier for our other colors to color up this image with. Now I did cut this image out in advance. I was a little scared about cutting this image, fussy cutting it live, because there are a lot of details with it. So I used my scan and cut, and I just kind of put the negative back into place and figured we would go ahead that way. Look how much time it's just taking me just to put this color down. So I believe I made a good choice not by coloring this up twice. So I'm just going in, adding this G00. Keep going. This marker is going to get quite the workout. It's probably going to be squeaking by the time I'm done with it. It'll be like, you'll need its marker refill oil can, you know? You get it, you get it. All right, just kind of going in. We're getting towards the end of adding this color. I was super excited for the idea to craft with this set today. I adore these two characters. I'm really sort of living in the moment that's going on right now and just loving the spotlight that they're getting. I've already made multiple trips to the movie theater. All the things. All right. We've got our first layer down. Hello, Heather. Sorry that I missed your first comment. I will feel well soon. I feel like it'll pass. It's just part of the game this time of year. All right, we're going to go with some G19, which is bright parrot green. And I'm just going to start adding this anywhere there would be a shadow. All right. Just kind of adding this in. And I want to say this is what I did when I colored this up as an ice palace, that I colored it up this like shortcut way just because it's so large. Also, some images don't really need to be super saturated in color, especially if you're trying to get like reflective qualities. So I am a-okay with this. Just kind of keep on carrying out where that shadow would go. Lots of little nooks and crannies with this image, that's for certain. Down and around, across this balcony. Ooh, taking time. All right, go over here. Down that way. Let's go this. Hello, Florette. Hope you're having a good day. All right, so we're just gonna kind of go around the first little peak. Here, forgot about right there. And then let's see, we'll go. Trying to keep it as symmetrical as I can as well. Well, I'm glad that you found me. Alright, so we're going to go in. We're going to keep going. Just kind of adding in to make everything nice and symmetrical, like I was saying, giving it that emerald look. Let's see. Hello, Peggy. All right. Wonderful. Just like that. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is with the next color, we're just going to kind of carry out those colors again. So we're going to do some G05, which is perfectly named Emerald Green. Makes me feel like I'm picking the right colors. So we're just going to kind of keep carrying these colors out. I feel like this is kind of like monotonous coloring. I know I'm not talking too much because I'm just trying to lay down. It's like the same color everywhere, and it's hard for me to describe the different areas of this little city castle sort of contraption. Structure. We'll go structure. That's easy. So I apologize for my silence. I'm just trying to focus to make sure that I don't accidentally skip anything. I know that when I colored this up for the Snow Family release, that I did go ahead and accidentally like skip a couple areas that I didn't color up the way that I wanted to. So I'm trying to make sure that since I'm doing this live with y'all, that none of that is happening. But then again, let's be honest, mistakes happen all the time in crafting. So you just kind of gotta work your way around them when they come up. Or just not even mention them, and then sometimes people don't even know about them. I actually just put up a YouTube video today where I made a card with a rub-on transfer, and I was using a die cutting machine to make it real easy. And the die cutting machine, when it was applying the rub-on transfer, when I was peeling the rub-on off, actually like took part of the pattern paper with it. So I had to kind of pivot and be like, well, this is how you can fix that so you don't have ripped paper on your final card if that's not your intention. So you always gotta pivot. Just like that. We're getting there. Oh, thank you so much, Peggy. Next, let's go in with some G02. Just gonna keep going in. I don't use my G markers that often. I find myself more often going for the YGs than the actual Gs. I don't know why that is necessarily, but this would be really pretty if you wanted to add some gel pen accents. I don't know if I'll be doing any because I feel like you can kind of go overboard. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just hard when you're doing a Facebook Live. Like, I don't want to do too many small, tedious tasks that are going to take up a bunch of time because that takes away the time that I feel like I get to talk with you because I'm not necessarily the best at multitasking. And I don't want you guys to feel like you're just sitting here watching me make a card with like no commentary, no tips, no tricks. And I feel like when I do the little like tedious tasks, that's what kind of happens. And it takes up a bunch of time. I always try to limit my Facebook Lives to be no more than like an hour and 15 minutes, but the truth is, I'm always trying to hit that 1 hour mark. That's kind of like my goal. Anytime we do a live, it's like, Justin, how are we going to do this in under an hour? Or in just about an hour? I hope you guys have snagged some good deals. Maybe you've taken advantage of the Purple Friday sale for 20% off. I know this stamp set wouldn't qualify as part of that, but this is going to be a stamp set you're probably going to want at some point anyway. You could always hold out for a future sale, but you know that those are never really that well planned. So just be careful when doing that. And plus, I don't know necessarily what the plan is with this one. Usually newer stamp sets stay in stock for, or gets kept on the shop for a little while, but you never know with supply when it may go out of stock and when it may get restocked. Just keep that in mind. All right, we're gonna go with that G00. Basically what I'm saying is if there's a stamp set that you really want and you don't know when you want to order it, I always say sooner is better than later because you don't know when that stamp set goes out of stock and when it would be available next to purchase. So, I don't know. Just my thought. If it fits into your budget, I say go for it. Yep, my G00 is definitely sounding a little thirsty after all this coloring, but that's okay. Just gonna go in. Yep, hear the squeak? That's okay. I'll see if I've got a refill later and fill it back up. It covered a lot of real estate, so this tends to happen. Just try to stay on top of refilling your markers when need be. All right, let's keep going. I love that the way that this is colored, it really captures the different highlights and lowlights of this image with it being basically a precious stone. Oh, well, enjoy the movie, Ava. It's such a good, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, just gonna go in. All right, we are getting there. All right, there we go. We have our ice palace covered up, or all colored up, so that instead of ice, it's like crystally. So there we go. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I just put tape on the back, and I can save all of this, which is lovely. Don't want to rip anything. Ripped a little bit of the backing paper, which is honestly fine. You don't want to rip the castle. Perfect. All right. There we go. We've got our castle, our little city piece all situated. Now I do want to, so I had another idea. So I took some yellow paper and I had die cut it. This is the vintage hotel keys set. And I used this die, which is like the solid backer piece, not the frame, to die cut out this little shape. And I had a thought, and I wanted to make this a road. So bear with me on this. I had a thought. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to kind of go in. and make this a little road of sorts. It's going to take me a little bit of time, but I had an idea. And then I also have one of my fur children in the den with me. She's decided to make her presence known. Let's also do an extra row down here just in case I need to reference anything. And I know that this is going to look a little hodgepodgey to begin with, but I think as we add more, it's going to look better. So I'm just going to kind of go in. This is Y38. And as we reach the top of this little keychain die cut, I'm going to keep like each row. I'm going to be trying my best to make the bricks smaller. Now, mind you, this is all eyeballed, so I don't know necessarily how successful I'm going to be. And if it looks awful, oh, I apologize. So I'm just going to kind of keep going in. Just kind of adding in bricks. Trying also to keep that rectangular shape and not have them just look like marker swooshes. Keep going in. I also don't want it to get like infinitely more difficult as each row presents itself. I do want to finish it at some point. And keep going. Kind of keeping that rectangular shape with these bricks. Kind of making those bricks look like they're getting smaller. Just like that. I think that's pretty decent. I'm going to bring it up a little closer for y'all. Oh, Gwen's here. Hello, Gwen. So it's given the illusion of a little bit of a road. And I think that as we use it shortly, it'll kind of come along with how it's going to look. So, all right. So we've got that set to the side. Let's work on our background. So I have already cut out a piece of blending cardstock with the stitched rectangle die from the Card Basic stamp die set. So I figured we would start by blending this. So I'm going to start with some old paper. And just hear me out, we're going to start with old paper right in the center. Just like that. just kind of in the center, because I want to kind of give the city a little bit of a glow. But it's not that bright. It just kind of gives a kind of a faded color. So I thought I would also pull in some cracked pistachio. And just sort of blend it into each other. Just kind of keep going. I'm actually blending it into the old paper just to get a nice transition into each other. Like I said, it's going to give that nice sort of emerald glow. But of course, I want it to go into the color of the sky, which is going to be blue. So we're going to use some broken china. Let me grab just an acrylic block. I'm just kind of going in, adding that broken china. We're going to go back in as well with the, oops, sorry about that, with the cracked pistachio, just to kind of smooth out those edges. There was also another item that I was wanting to do, and it's not really something I do often. I'll show you guys in a second. But I wanted to kind of add some clouds. But as you can see, so like just bare minimum, you can see how it creates sort of that greenish glow behind the city, but still fades out to a regular sort of sky color of blue. So, all right, so we're gonna go in. Now that I'm looking at this, it's not gonna be that much of a brick road. But anyways, we're dealing, don't worry. Okay, so let's go in and I'm gonna take some of my distress sprayer. This is just some water. And just sort of splatter some water onto our project. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. I think we're good. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit just to let it start to bleach the paper a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put a Kindred craft towel on top. And I've got some really nice bleach marks from that. Okay, so what I wanted to do next is I took the negative from the grass and cloud stencil, and I thought it would be fun to work with some white pigment ink that I had on hand. And I'm going to just make a little bit of a cloudy-ish background. So I am going to work from the top down. This is just unicorn white from Hero Arts. I'm taking a dedicated blending brush that only is something I use with white pigment ink. And I'm just gonna kind of blend it up to the edge. And it's gonna be a subtle effect, but just kind of give that nice cloudy effect as well. Actually, I think I want to use the other side of the paper. That's okay. And I'll go a little bit more in shortly to show you guys exactly what it looks like, because it can kind of be hard to tell just by looking at it from a distance. Oop. It's okay, I can fix that. Just kind of line it back up the best that I can. All right. Let's do it once again. I must just not have done a good job taping it down. Hey, it happens, right? All right. Perfect. All right, I've gone ahead. Let me bring it a little closer. You should be able to see those clouds pretty decently, but it just sort of gives that sort of cloudy-ish look, which I thought would be really cool, and then also still have the glow of the castle behind it. So, all right, let's do, we'll do a little bit of paper splattering. Why not? So let's, with the background, just clean up a little bit. This is some liquid white snowflake paper splatter. Let's do a little bit of this. And a little bit of water. Kind of clean my brush a little bit, because I also thought it would be cool to go in with a little bit of lime green. This is kiwi lime, actually. So I'm going to just do a couple droplets of that. Some water. Sparkles and splatters just always seem to make a card feel a little extra special. All right, so let me clean this off. I'm gonna set this panel aside to dry a little bit better. Make sure I'm not missing any comments. Nope, we're good. If anybody has any questions, be sure to let me know. And then if this isn't dried by the time we get back to it, I will hit it with a heat gun. I always like to try to let my papers to dry naturally first, and then in the event it doesn't work out, then I'll go in and I will just sort of fix it a little bit and use the heat gun with it. But I know that heat guns tend to kind of warp the paper, so anything I can do to avoid that, I always do try, but it's not always possible. All right, so let's set that to the side. And then let's see, my yellow road, just kind of go in. I think I'm gonna go in and just distress the edge, maybe. I thought about just doing markers, but now that I'm doing this, I'm like, ink might work better. All right, so let's see. That kind of curves it off a little bit in the end, though, which is nice. Let's see. Let me grab some fossilized amber oxide in my fossilized amber oxide blender. Just sort of blend the edges. Like this. Just sort of distress the edges, make it look a little bit more road-like. All right. So I'll set that off to the side. Let's do some more scene building. I also have, so I use the grass scene craft die, and I die cut just a piece from green cardstock, and then using the same color, I used the House of the Hill die set, and I went ahead and die cut out the grassy hill. My thought is I can kind of play around with the scene a little bit, just to kind of make it not look so two-dimensional. So let's go in. I've got some Rustic Wilderness Oxide ink. And just start distressing it. Just kind of going in, making it look grassy. Also keeping it kind of earthy, not super whimsical in terms of coloring. I mean, they are walking towards a city made of gemstones. I mean, so I guess when you're talking about being whimsical, it doesn't get much more whimsical than that. But I didn't want to use like a neon green sort of palette for this grass. All right, and then sort of add in just like this. And then I'm not super worried about it being a super clean blend because I am going to go ahead and put this city on top of it. But we're going to, my thought is, then we'll put this in front. I'm going to figure this out. I am going to figure this out. So, I'm almost wondering if I should like cut it in half. I'm going to figure it out. I know I keep saying that. It's going to happen. Yeah, this is going to have to get hit with a heat gun. All right, so the last element that I need to sort of prep is our sentiment. So let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. I think we're good. All right, so now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I am going to do a little bit of heat embossing and fussy cutting. And I have a piece of green cardstock. Green is just like the theme, you know? And I've got my mini Misty. And we're gonna pull in a third stamp set. So we're gonna put this down. I've got my embossing tool just for anti-static, and then I am going to pull in the Journey Home stamp set, and I wanted to use the Something Wicked This Way Comes. I thought that would be really fun and whimsical to use for the stamp set, or for this card that we're creating. All right, so let's go in. Just like that. All right, so I'm gonna take my Kindred Stamps embossing watermark pad, just like that. Stamp it out a couple times. I have found that with porous colored cardstock that sometimes it dries rather quickly when using a watermark pad, so you may sort of need to work kind of on the quicker end. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna remove our magnets. I'm gonna take my Snowfall embossing powder. I'm just gonna get a clean piece of paper from behind me. And then I'm going to put the Snowfall embossing powder right over it. I'm going to put the excess back in the jar. And then let's do some heat embossing. Just sort of hit it with the heat gun. Always sorry about the noise. And just sort of watch it for that melting to start to happen. You will, sometimes it's hard to show on camera, but when you're doing it in person, you will know when it's happening. Y'all, I don't love this. It looks a little mushy to me. Let's see, what can we do? How can I fix this? Let's use, what? We don't have a lot of pink. Do I really like pink paper? We do have light pink paper. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna pivot, and I am gonna pull in some new ink. And we're not gonna heat emboss at all. I am gonna pull in, let's see, let's do some Party Dress from Catherine Pooler. And I just gotta quickly just sort of clean off my sentiment. I like using white embossing powder, but there are just some sentiments that get harder and harder to use an embossing powder with. Just because they're kind of on the thicker side. It's all right. Wonderful. So I'm going to use Party Dress Catherine Pooler ink. That is much more legible. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of stamp cleaner. I know Catherine Pooler inks do have a tendency to stain. So I do have a Nuvo stamp cleaner I keep on me that helps restore the stamps decently, sometimes not 100%, but this one's pretty good. So just because I don't love stained stamps, I understand that sometimes it's unavoidable, and when that happens, so be it. But if I can avoid it, I try to. All right. So let's do a little bit of fussy cutting. We've got a lot of green going on in this card, so you know what? I'm happy with this change because I think we can use a little bit more pink. Just kind of fussy cutting around the sentiment, making it pop. Sometimes I think that fussy cutting a sentiment is one of the best things you can do to really make it the spotlight of your project. Just kind of go in. Fussy cut around. Just like that. This little. All right, we've got our sentiment. I wonder if I could fussy cut again. No. Once I think is enough. Okay, we'll save that for later. So let me pull out, yeah, this has got to get a little bit of assistance. Excuse me. So I'm just going to use my heat it tool to set everything into place so I have no smearing. Realistically, I just see like one large mark that's still needing to be dried, so this is not that terrible. so now we can start mapping everything. So I've got my hill, and then I am going to, how far up can the hill go? Not that far up. So maybe like that. So let's get the hill adhered. It can't go that far up. That's okay. Oh, phooey. My glue is not coming out. There we go. All right, and then I think what I'm gonna do is, I do want to trim this one tower. Just because for whatever reason my scan and cut didn't do the greatest job. So we're gonna go in, we're going to do our tower next. Use my glass mat to kind of line everything up because I want that center spot, to really stay in the center. Let's see, let's pump just a little bit. Make sure everything is nice and level. Let's just work on this little road piece. Just kind of keep on building the scene. This way the grass sort of makes it look like there's a bit of a foreground. Which then again, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know how much of it we're necessarily going to see because we do have to put our characters on in addition to this. It's okay. Okay. We are getting there. It is really good, Amy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start to trim off some excess. Y'all, I recently got these Spellbinder scissors and I'm so in love. They are so wonderful. Let's see. Does everything look... I feel like it could be just like slightly moved. Awesome. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. So now let's start to put the card together before we started hearing our characters. So I am going to, this is going to go onto some pink paper. Just like this. I kind of went back and forth, didn't know what colors I wanted to do, and I, of course, settled on pink and green. And we're going to put this matted onto a piece of green glitter cardstock. I love the glitter from the green. I think it's so important with this card. It just gives that little extra oomph. Keep on moving this darn castle. I'm just grateful it keeps moving when I need it to. All right, so I also really love that glow around the castle as well. I think it's working quite well for us. So now we're going to put one of the, oh, this is so huge. All right, so we have our two characters, and I misplaced my sentiment. Oh, phooey. Where did it go? Oh, give me a second. I'm sure it will surface. I hope it surfaces. Oh my gosh, what if it doesn't? I guess that just means I'd have to do it again. Huh. Did I drop it? Let's see. Oh, found it. All right. Let's put this on. No, we'll do a card base at the end. Okay, so let's grab some foam strips. I think we'll do it up here. Oh, y'all, this is so cute. Okay. Just kind of trim down these foam strips. All right, we'll get her nicely put into place. No. Let's add some tape to the back of our pink witch. Need a little bit more foam tape for her. And let's do a little bit on the back of our sentiment. Ooh, y'all, we're almost there. We are almost there. I'm keeping it right around that 1 hour mark. All right, we're going to put this up here. Is that where we want it? Make sure before we commit to it. All right, let's adhere to a card base and then add a couple embellishments. I'm going to have to adhere this down a little better. All that repositioning. It's okay. Kind of a little off camera. Just like that. All right. And then I have some like flat silver discs I thought that would look really cute just to do as this embellishment. But I don't have, do I have an embellishment tray anywhere nearby? No? What the heck, Justin? I always have one nearby. So let me grab one. And we'll just add a couple. Oh, I forgot that I have a die cut that I have to figure out where its home is. All right, so let's go in. Just gonna do like 3, like 1, 2, 3. Grab my tool. Just for a little sparkle. And they're flat, so they adhere really nicely. And I think we're done. Well, then I made a mess. Well, I'm about done. I just got to clean this up. Now I'm done. All right. Well, let's go over a little bit. Oh my gosh, you guys are all so sweet. I'm so glad that you guys love it. Like I said, this was, and Audra tuned in, this was Audra's idea to use the Snow Castle from Snow Family to create a sort of green city vibe, and usually Audra is always right. So this looks absolutely wonderful, and I'm glad that we were able to bring this card to life. This was a lot of combination of products that was used. So 3 stamp sets, we used Defying Friends, we used Journey Home, and we used Snow Family. We also used the Card Basics die, we used the House and a Hill die, and then we had also used the Grass Scene die as well. We were going to use some embossing powder. That didn't really go the way that I wanted it to, so I just stamped it out onto pink paper, and y'all, oh, and we also used the Vintage Hotel key dies too. So this was a lot of products that came together. I think that road turned out really cute. It's a little wonky, but I mean, whenever anything is hand-drawn by me, it's always going to turn out a little wonky, so there's no surprises there. But thank you guys all so very much for stopping by. I just adore how this turned out. I will get this photographed and into the fan club very soon. And don't forget that the Purple Friday sale is currently going on in the shop. 20% off all products that were not part of the October or the November release and not a special edition kit. That's not, when you look at everything that's on the website, that's really not that much. So you would be able to snag the Journey Home stamp set. You'd be able to snag the Hotel Key die, the Grass Scene die. House in a Hill, I don't know if you're going to be as lucky with. I think that was part of the October release, but I could be wrong. And we also use the Grass and Cloud stencil as well for our background. The Card Basics die, definitely. All the embossing powders, those are new. Snag what you guys have if you haven't already. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend, and I will see you again next month with 2 more Facebook Lives. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. Goodbye.